Here we are, Norwalk. Little surprise this weekend. Two surprises. First, we couldn't do barbecue. A lot of stuff going on. I was in Hawaii for Napa. I know it sounds like work, Mark. By the way, our guest, Mark Pawuk. Mark Cowboy Pawuk. And I'm excited about this because obviously growing up as a fan of the sport before I started driving, got to watch you a lot from California. So got a lot of good questions for you. Some stupid questions, some good questions. So bear with me, Mark. First of all, we're not doing barbecue. Second of all, if you've been to the Norwalk race, even if you haven't, you know, you've heard about the ice cream. A pound for $1. Things have changed a little bit. The Bader family, which by the way, if you're coming, or actually by this time you would have already seen it, you would already known. So I guess it's too late to tell you. But Mr. Bader has had autographed a few lids of these ice creams, and if you had one, you got to go pick out some clothing at the store, which we're going to be here for Night Under Fire in August. So any fans that haven't got tickets, come back out. Velvet ice cream made right here in Ohio. It's the ice cream they've had here forever, and it's really good. I got Moose Tracks, Mr. Pawuk here, raspberry fudge cordial, and of course, cookies and cream. Now, I told you I got some dumb questions, but part of this whole thing we've done this year, have you seen these before?
I have not, Ron. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not much of a social media guy.
You always hear me talking about Cassandra behind the camera shooting all these, and it is Cassandra Pawuk, who is Mark's daughter, and she's worked our social media for last couple years, and then with me at DSR prior to that. So we've been bugging her to try to get on your schedule to get you to pin down and where we could sit down and ask you some questions from the fans. Those are the good questions. Mine are going to be the dumb ones. But basically, fans want to know what we do, where we ate, where we hang out before each race. And so we just started eating barbecue and then talking about what we do before each race. This is a cool one because it's obviously ice cream. But I want to start out first. What got you into drag racing in the first place? I know your dad was involved, but tell us what got you the bug.
Well, actually, my dad wasn't involved, Ron. He was a big supporter of mine, my mom and dad both, but I worked at a transmission shop when I was in high school, and the owner and his partner both had drag cars. So I went to the track with him one time. I fell in love. One of the partners owned a 68 Dodge Charger, and he let me take it to the track, and I went to Drag Week 42, and I won a trophy my first time.
Is that right?
And I was hooked. So then on the way home, I had his El Camino, and we had a tow bar. It started raining. I didn't bother changing the slicks, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and this car was like a 90 to the El Camino. I don't know how I got it stopped, but I got it straightened out, and I limped it along to the truck stop at 71, and put regular tires back on and made it home. But I ended up buying that car, and that was the start of my career in drag racing.
No kidding. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously the nickname Cowboy. Is there a story you can tell how it came about?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Don Perdome always said that about the snake. All right, let's hear it. It's got to be a good story. Because you're not a cowboy.
I'm not a cowboy. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Back in the early days of CB radios, I used to wear cowboy hats and cowboy boots all the time, and I had a vest, a jean vest, and
Wait, you were a CB guy?
Yeah, oh yeah, I was a big CB guy.
Like you'd sit at home with all those towel antennas?
No. Just driving down the road. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, buddy.
Break,
good, buddy. Daryl Gwynn and I used to drive Daryl's truck when I was waiting for my first Pro Stock car.
And you were the cowboy on it?
Yeah, and he was loving life, man. He would be But yeah, actually awesome. It stuck, so I had a handle. Then when Summit signed me in '93, I asked them if they wanted me to change my moniker or just leave Cowboy. They said, no, we definitely want the Cowboy thing. And I will tell you that I go through airports still. People don't know my name, but they know I'm the Cowboy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I always thought you were some rancher or something before I got to know you.
And they were country bars in Cleveland too, believe it or not. There was a place called Dylan's, and I used to go there and listen to country music all dressed up. Was
it like Cheers? Did you have your own table?
No,
your own seat?
not quite. I didn't get there enough.
Now, I did, on a side note, I heard a little story about the boat show, Fort Lauderdale, a place called Coconuts, where if I mention the Cowboy, I might just get a good parking spot.
You might get more than that. Yes, it's an awesome place. You know, my dad bought that property in the early 70s, I want to say. And I remember it was 2 old motels. It was on the water in Fort Lauderdale. It was right next to Swimming Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And I went down for spring break, and my dad said, "Would you mind changing the hot water tank? You know, hot water tank leaking." I go, "No, I'll be happy to do it, Dad." So I walk in the hotel. There's a bunch of bums living there. There's holes in the walls, and I remember saying to my mom, "I think Dad finally lost it." And guess what? He didn't lose it.
Yeah.
Very, very smart man, and they were big supporters of mine, both my mom and dad.
Yeah.
They had a lot of friends out there. I mean, they had more fuel friends than they had Pro Stock friends.
Is that right? Yeah, I used to always see him at the races. Okay, so I got to know, factory stock, what's the main difference that you found when you first got in on the factory stocks from driving the Pro Stock? And I know Pro Stock, you had the burnouts just perfect. You couldn't get any more heat in the clutch. I've seen those clutch discs and they're tiny. So what was the main difference when you got into one of those factory stock cars you run now?
So, you know, I was away from the sport for 13 years, and I kind of lost interest in Pro Stock when they went to fuel injection. And unfortunately, you know, all there are GM cars out there. Even if you don't have a GM car, you're on a GM engine. Back in the days when I ran, you had Fords with Bob Wood, and you had Oldsmobiles with Warren Johnson. You had Rear Morrison out there with Chevrolets, you know. And I felt that Pro Stock kind of went the wrong direction because everybody, you know, now, like today, you only have 2, 3 engine builders out there doing, where we all had our engine programs back then, and we worked individually on our own cars.
Yeah.
So this car, when Don Schumacher was on me for a couple years to come back in the sport, and my kids wanted me to come back, so I thought it was a really cool class because they're factory style cars like Pro Stock of old.
Yep.
The fans can relate to them.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing what they are. You know, they're not carbureted, they have blowers, but 3,600 pound car on a 9-inch tire making over 1,500 horsepower. It's amazing how fast they are and what they are.
They disappear fast when you're at the starting line.
And they sound really good.
They
down
do,
the track. When
yeah.
they're in high gear, they really sound good.
Yeah.
So, you know, I decided to try it and then had some success, and then I decided this year, you know, Don seemed to lose interest after he lost a lot of fuel teams, and I had 2 teammates that ran with me last year in factory stock, and they ended up deciding to go on their own, and I thought it'd be a good time to give Don an out because I didn't want him to have to field a car for one team.
Yeah.
So he ended up selling me the first car that I ran, and then we started up Pawuk family racing with Cassandra and Kyle.
Well, I'm glad you're out here because it was, you know, obviously we were excited about the class, or I was. My dad, back when I was a kid, helped a guy in an E-Modified production Nova, which back then, those classes were so much fun. I mean, it was better than Pro Stock for a while, watching all those classes.
I love Modify Eliminator when they had it.
Oh man, that was awesome to watch. Screaming engines.
Yep.
Man,
4 speeds.
Yeah, 4 speeds.
Yep.
Yeah, good old days. Which, another little known fact, and I'm not sure it's true, I heard that actually Grumpy Jenkins at one point worked with you, or for you.
He did. I actually had the Grump and Bob Wooden working together in Phoenix. Grump was supplying the motors and Bob was tuning the car.
Wow.
And they actually got along together it was like 2 races.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, any
that was
hardcore
pretty
fan at
awesome.
home
There's
knows
some
that's,
pictures floating around somewhere. I haven't been able to find
Oh,
them.
you gotta
There are
find
some pictures.
that'd be a great throwback Thursday.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
All right,
I
so-
saw them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, who is your favorite race car driver of non-drag racing, drag racing? Like who, when you were growing up, was there Mario Andretti or AJ Foyt or somebody like that was your favorite as a fan growing up?
Ron Capps.
Come on, I'm younger than you.
A lot younger.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good question. Oh, I gotta think about that for a minute.
I'm glad I got a question like that.
Yeah.
I love it when people ask me a question where I gotta actually say, let me think about it.
It
I'm
had
not
to
sure.
be, you know who one of my favorites was actually back when I first started, and it's because his cars were so beautiful, Dale Poldy.
Oh yeah. I just had a conversation with somebody today about the old
Oh,
Miller
War
Highlight,
Eagles, yeah,
War
Eagle.
Yeah.
And Ed McCullough too. I used to follow the Ace a lot,
Yeah.
and we're
Revolution.
still friends. Yeah.
I built those models when I was a kid.
And I never knew John Schumacher back then, but if I would have known the Wonder Wagons and stuff, you know, I probably would have been a fan of his also.
Yeah.
Because we've become pretty good friends over the years. And, So, but I remember Paul these cars, and I remember Billy Meyer had a aqua sliding dive.
Yeah.
He was like the first guy out with a semi.
Yeah,
And I thought that was really cool.
that was cool. We talked to him last year in our wings thing, and I asked him about that because it was an old furniture trailer,
Right.
and that was one of the first ones. It was pretty cool to talk to him.
No
about that.
CDL either.
Wow.
Yeah, no CDO, right?
So we also, you talked about the wing thing. Well, we went and had wings Wednesday night, and Sandra said, too bad it's so far away because we had some awesome wings that she said Ron would have loved.
Yeah. We did a pretty good one here last year in downtown Norwalk, which the guy had this list. And there had to have been 70 different kinds of flavors, but it had a thermometer and went from the hottest on down. And if you scroll back and look last year, and whenever it was, June or July, you can find that Winging It with Ron. Great place. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But all right, one more question. I've heard this car collection you have at home, and I just want to know. I've never seen it. I've only heard you have a car collection. But what do you got in there? What's your favorite of the collection? How many you got? First of all,
Too many.
too many. Really? Do you drive them much, or
We
can they all be
tried.
driven?
We were going to take 3 or 4 of them between the Master Pizza car show on Tuesday night and Summit on Wednesday night, between me testing at Dragway 42 and just being so busy we never had the time to take them. But my dad actually started a collection with 4 Model A's, a 4-door, a 2-door.
Original.
Yeah, they were all redone. They were really nice cars and a pickup truck. And then he bought 4 65 and 67 Corvettes, big block Corvettes.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Do you drive those much?
we hadn't driven them in a couple of years.
No.
And then I ended up, my dad and I bought 2 57s from Joe Rutka.
Is that right? I think
And
Joe
then
Rutka had was.
He had like 17.
Yeah, but I mean, everything I see that he had,
Yeah,
collection.
I bought, it's a black Fuelie convertible with the orange and gray interior.
Wow.
It's beautiful. And then
You need somebody to drive that stuff, you know.
You should come and
fly
drive
on
some.
out, yeah.
So then I kind of grew it from there.
What's one car, if you could pick any car to get in your collection, what's something you don't have that you would love to have?
I want to try to get a 69 Daytona or a 70 Superbird Hemi car, Hemi 4-speed car. I have a couple wing cars. I've got a really nice 69 812 Roadrunner green. That was kind of my claim to fame when I first started racing. That 69 Roadrunner I used to do very well with.
Yeah. You still have that car?
Yeah. Oh no, I don't. I sold it to a friend of mine, and he won't sell it back. And then I bought it. My first car was a '68 Dodge Charger RT, and I just found one last year. So I've got a lot of old parts. I got some Hemi stuff now. Just
Okay.
a real mix of stuff.
I'm going to grease it up for you. This is my question. I wasn't even going to ask you this, but I just thought of it. If there's one thing you could change with NHRA today, and you could have Glenn sitting in here, and one thing you could say, this is something that you absolutely need to change, what would it be?
There's a lot of things.
I knew that was coming.
You need to learn how to take care of the racers that support their program, because without us, they have nothing.
Well said. Yeah. All right. That's coming from a veteran, Glenn.
And I like Glenn. I've known Glenn a long time.
I do too. I do too. And they're working hard. It's amazing to me. Like right now, you and I are talking. It's raining outside. But how many times in the past would they have made us wait around if they knew it was going to rain?
You're right.
Or would they have extended and taken a race that rained out and taken it and finished it
Yes.
somewhere else
Yes.
instead of keeping us? So they're doing a lot of things differently than they would have, and I commend them for it. But,
And I agree. And you know, they've, on top of finishing races at the next race, so you don't have to go back. They also have changed the schedule around some, so you don't have to drive back and forth across the country.
The
which
rain's
is
coming,
huge.
run us before
Right.
the rain. I mean, that
Right.
never would have happened.
No, changing the qualifying times or elimination times like they did in Bristol.
Yeah.
Starting the season out in Gainesville rather than Pomona.
I love
mean,
that.
there's several things that they did that they really are trying to make things better
Yeah.
for everybody.
I agree. Well, thank you, man. This is fun.
One question.
We can dig. Oh, hold on, Cass has. a
If you
question.
could be any animal, what would you be?
if you could be any animal, what is the animal you would be?
A pig, so I can eat more.
I didn't expect that.
No, me neither.
I'm expecting leopard or cheetah. A pig. All right, there you have it. Mark,
Okay.
the pig, Pawuk. Well, we can dig into our ice cream, velvet ice cream, straight from Norwalk Raceway,
Very
or
good.
Summit Raceway, we should say. But thanks again for doing this. Appreciate it. Been wanting to talk to you for a long time.
Thank you, Ron. I really appreciate you having me on.
You got
Very
it.
cool.
There it is, Q&A with Caps, and next we'll see you guys for Denver, Bandamir's last drag race. It's going to be a bummer, but it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fans are already packing the place in, and we got a pretty cool guest coming up, so pay attention, and maybe we'll do it live and invite some of you, our fans, come join us on Thursday or Friday there. All right? Take care.